Shalom, shalom. The next edition of Reading with Shilo. Shilo, what's up? I'm out here. I'm out here. We're ready to pick up where we left off. And who blessed you? Speak unto the children of Israel, curated by George Fraser, Stan Matthews, and Mr. Azaniah Israel. Yeah. Put this in the front of the book. And we've been reading quite a few people. Two people's stories a session. And now we are here today at this time. We are going to read about Shirrod and Violettee. Not Violettee, I'm sorry. Shirrod and Violettee Brown. Oh man. So, is there something I feel like reading? Let's see what it is and how it goes tonight. Ooh. Who blessed you? Who blessed you, baby? You know, they say, what they say? They say, when you look at how the words are and the spelling of the words, who be, they say, be less. Be less. I want to be more. Who be molding me? Oh, he can't even talk right. Yeah, but we're going to go ahead and, we're moving right along. We are moving right along. Right along. Let me see. I haven't gotten to like a real long one yet. Shalom, shalom, everybody. We haven't started yet. Right on time. I haven't gotten to a real long story yet here. Oh, I would consider long compared to some of the chapters in other books. I want to try to finish this off so I can get to the medical apartheid book. Because that one will be next on the list, the medical apartheid. And that one's pretty lofty. It's pretty hefty, at least for what I think, and how I read. But we'll keep pushing. We're almost halfway through the book. We're looking good. We're looking good. We're moving along nicely, if I do say so myself. We're moving along nicely in Who Blessed You, speaking to the children of Israel. 3 relationships that transformed my life. 3 relationships by, each different person within what it seems to be. They have a co-op or organization of entrepreneurs. And the book is, I think, people within their circle, which Azaniah is a part of, or a part of the, whatever their main group is, or that come together, that Mr. George Fraser does. I forget what the name is of the one. Stories of the people who help them to be the people they are today, or what they have come to be. So let's get into Shirrod and see what are the 3 influences that Mr. Shirrod, or if it's a Mr. or Mrs. Shirrod has and Violet Brown has. I know that sounds more like a lady name. Shirrod, the right influence at the right time. Positive influence is the impact you have on other people or yourself by pointing out the strengths and influence on my life. These positive influences led to me transforming my life at pivotal times in both my life and career. I have recently lost my job, and I was working at my church full time. I was literally back to square one again with my life after being fired from a 15-year career. Oh, yeah, did I mention married, a newborn, and a 10-year-old daughter? Oh, yeah, life was fantastic. I remember that one of the ideas suggested was to go back to school and get my master's degree. My pastor was a big proponent of education, as well as a big supporter of taking full advantage of opportunities when they presented themselves. So I figured why not since I had the time, and in my current situation, it was the optimal idea to better myself as that could position me for a better opportunity later. I applied to some degree in information technology. Since it was a small, nearby institution, I already knew most of the faculty there, so to me it seemed logical to enroll there. I submitted my application with all supporting documentation and received an acceptance within weeks. A few weeks went by, and then it was time to start classes, and so I received my financial aid, which, let's face it, is always the best part about college, right? Now, yeah, right. I was still trying to figure out the logic behind that decision. You know, how people say it is all about the timing. As for me, the time was not now. I was not ready, and it didn't work for me. Having someone to encourage or motivate and cheer you on, also having someone who is willing to regularly check in on you and ask how things are going is such a wonderful way to impact the lives of other people. And Tory Woods is that individual who you would see always offering his service and is used to it and is used it, to serve God and others, which we call servant leadership. I recalled having a conversation with Tori about getting my degree and finding the right program for me from this experience. It was during this time that I would find out who Tori and Kim Woods were. But I wasn't ready for the impact and influence they would have on my life. Tori would always ask the right questions and get me to do the inner work required to identify the specific in various conversations and research. I later applied and was accepted to the Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University. This was a new executive master of business administration degree that was developed by the late Jack Welch. This program seemed tailor-made just for me, and Tori and Kim both were very supportive and excited for this opportunity for me. I contribute my success and completing the program with honors because of the support of many, but Tori and Kim specifically. Positive, because positive influences build optimistic, affirmative, and constructive participation between both individuals in the relationship. Influence is always dedicated to what makes and brings meanings to their lives because they are a small portion of the population that believes in a life of purpose and goal setting. Tori and Kim Woods demonstrated this God-believing and purpose-focused life as individuals, but also as husband and wife. They were a breath of fresh air to be around, and they lived the principles they would share. They lived the principles and would share. Oh man. They lived the principles they would share and pour into me and others. Every conversation that took place with either Tori or Kim was from a place of willingness to help however they could. They were always ready to help those in need, never looking down on anyone or never asking for anything in return. They would express the same energy to help and serve with every encounter. Shalom, shalom. Influence is the power to have an important effect on someone or even something. If someone influences someone else, they are changing that individual or thing in an indirect but significant way. Sometimes a person who influences another does not intend to have any effect, but sometimes they are using influence to benefit themselves. Tori and Kim Woods gave special attention to sharing and pouring into me about life, leadership, and being a spiritual covering for my family. Tori mentored me in the areas of being a husband and father. These two instrumental in my development and growth as I began to identify another level of passion for leadership and business. They both had great experience in both of these areas and would find every opportunity to coach and mentor me as I walked into the new chapter of my life. One of the roles and responsibilities of our parents is to be the type of influence that helps to shape us into contributing citizens of society. Whatever that means, right? No, seriously, our first example and influence is that of our parents. So therefore, it should be no surprise that my mother is one of those top influential people in life. Now, for the record, my dad is just as much as a part of who I am today as she is, but there is a reason her influence was the greatest. As parents, we influence our child's basic values, like religious values, and issues related to their future, such as making sound educational choices. The stronger our relationship with our child, the more influence we will have because our children will be more likely to seek our guidance and value our opinions and support. My parents have always shown nothing but strength through even the worst of adversities that any relationship can even endure. It is amazing how things we think aren't meant to be to our detriment actually work in a complete opposite direction and become a stepping stone. The reason my mother, Barbara Carter, is one of three influences in my life is because of her continuous life example of putting God first in all things. Wow. Even as I write this and see it in words, it is mind-blowing in terms of having the type of role model who truly loves and follows God with all her heart and soul. This is my mother. Yes, she carried me for 9 months, and yes, she gave birth to me, but then she gave me back to the one who gave me to her in the first place, God. I am only seeing this revelation as I put these words in paper for you to read. There are many things we remember from our childhood, the good and bad. We know these moments were where you were in trouble, not because of what you did, but for what your siblings did. I have plenty of those stories, as I'm sure we all do. My mom is one that really did not beat around the bush or tell half truths. Look, for her, it's either right or wrong. And if you don't want to hear the answer, then don't ask the question. Now, she may not agree with this, but it's okay. It's my chapter, my perspective, and perception, so I'm good. See how brave I am behind this keyboard right now. What she would probably disagree with about is that she is a disciplined person. Actually, I think I will go with dedicated, but disciplined too. The way she lived her life and modeled the discipline of reading the Bible was amazing. I do not know how many Bibles she has, or even how many she has gone through, but I know she was dedicated to make sure it was a part of her daily disciple or daily discipline. She was also a praying woman. Now, did I see her pray every day as a child growing up? The answer is no. But the relationship between her and God that I witnessed today suggests that she knows him and he knows her, which tells me they talk all the time. Do you ever ask yourself or wonder why some things happen the way they do, or why opportunities present themselves out of nowhere, especially when you know that it had nothing to do with you or the intelligence that you think you have? Well, do you know that old saying that someone prayed for you? So I attribute those times and opportunities to my mother talking to God on my behalf. And you would think that I am the only child but fortunately I am not. I am one of five. I know my mom prayed for us on all equally and covered us daily on or even hourly, just depending on what happened the previous week. Parents are essentially the number one influences in our lives, and as their behavior greatly affects greatly affects ours, they consciously and unconsciously instill their personal beliefs, morals, and ethical values in us that initially shapes our mindset. The way my mom demonstrated the dedication and discipline of prioritizing God has obviously had a major influence in my life. But you will be surprised to learn that I knew this only recently, like maybe over the past year or so. To give you context of that time frame I mentioned, I am currently 42 years old, wide-eyed and old. The purpose of this reference to age is that my mom's spiritual influence over my life took time, but did not have its full impact until I too had my own personal relationship with God. Okay, I used to be slow. So once I had developed my own relationship with God, it was a discipline and dedication my mom modeled for me as a child and continues to model that has in my bad, y'all. My bad. My bad. I'm tripping. Kick me out. I'm tripping. Kick me out. Lesson learned through the orchestration of God. Whenever we were God, whenever we was, not too often do we really debate, but we always have this saying of watching our little minds of knowledge go through life. But we always have this saying of watching our little minds of knowledge go through life. But more, she says, but how she lives. She says, but how she lives. As I complete the chapter that transforms, as I complete the chapter that transforms my life, complete this chapter with the relationships that transform my life. I wanted to transform my life. I wanted to reemphasize the definition of influence. It is the capacity to have an effect of influence. It is the capacity to have an effect on the character, the development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. This last individual is you even thought possible. This last influencer this last influencer has influenced me more than those mentioned, and to date continues to have a tremendous impact I am that person. If you are wondering if this is a joke or a typo of some sort, it is not, because I am the person who has influenced the transformation of my life the greatest and still does. Listen, one of the greatest challenges in life is influencing yourself in a world that constantly putting pressure on you to conform or assimilate to what they think you should be. This can be exhausting and even mobilizing. The reality is that someone will always be richer, prettier, smarter, stronger, younger, wiser, and possibly even funnier than you are. We face this paradox, funnier than you are. We face this paradox. Look, we are human and imperfect at that. So the more we encourage, not to mention reach greater levels of potential that ever thought possible. Perfection is not what attracts people. Authenticity does. To be influential to your own transformation, you must knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, desires. When we are self-aware, we have the ability to recognize talents and non-talents. Having helps us organically into our authentic selves. Knowing our talents and strengths gives us permission to feel confident in our own ability. And when I was first introduced to personal development, really knowing and understanding the importance of its purpose, I became obsessed. I could not get enough of Lisa Brown, Eric Thomas, Norman Vincent Peale, Jim Rohn, Earl Nightingale, and so many more. Everything in my life started to transform. But why? I was not the same person when I finished reading, listening, or watching one of those aforementioned individuals. Let me be more specific. First, I started to make peace with the uncontrollable things in my life. First, I figured out the things I could change, then change them. And second, if I could not change something, then I learned to live with it. Wow, mind-blowing, right? Not really. As we do this all the time, but are consciously aware of it. What I learned is that if I change my attitude about the things I can control, then I can then make peace with it. I have also learned that worrying about something is one of the worst techniques to solve problems. I then figured out that I let go of the past because pointing out what others did wrong does not present any real gain for them. But I did this to myself daily. Instead of focusing on the lesson learned and making that necessary adjustments for the future, I was stuck in my past mistakes. We have to learn from our past and invest in the future by making the conscious decision to live for today. As part of my ability to influence myself and transform my life, I created a personal mission statement. It's not about being right or wrong, but being effective now, to experience the moment, to be efficient in the future. Having this personal mission statement has allowed me to focus on what is important. Is important is just how I can make a difference in the many areas of my life, including leadership and community. What is important is not to live perfectly, which is impossible, but to live purposely. My core values are faith, family. My bad. My core values are faith, family, impact, and abundance. Gaining self-awareness through personal development allowed me to have an influence and impact over my own self and life. The last aspect of my own influence over myself was my understanding that I was worth investment. I say that because what I expressing is not a selfish act, but an action of me, then who will? Even more importantly, whose responsibility is it outside of myself? Right? Nobody but mine. Investing in me allows me to then in turn invest in others. Listen, I cannot give you what I don't have, and I cannot help you if I don't first help myself. Now, here's the reality. Investing in yourself might mean putting some money, time, and energy on the line to achieve the level of growth and personal development you are after. I know because it costs me a lot. And fortunately, our own influence on our character development and behavior can be just as transformational as those from other positive influencers in our life. Never discount your own value and the power of influence you have, not only for those in your life, but for you as well. I dedicate this chapter to you, my parents, Barbara and Curtis. Without your encouragement, support, and tough love, but love all the same, there is no telling how things could have turned out for me. I am forever grateful for you both. Tori and Kim Woods, I pray that by reading this short chapter, you can see the value you both added to my life. Kim Woods, rest in peace, my friend and mentor, until we meet again. To my daughters, Lydia and Lauren, you both are my pride and joy. There will never be words that I can use to describe how proud I am to call you my girls. To the most important woman in my life, Shirrod, might be Ladette, but I know we pronounce it Ladette down here. I know when you read this, you will know the difficulties that came with all that I am today. None of what was possible without you. You are the reason I go hard and I stay with it because you deserve nothing but the best of me. I'm still a work in progress, but I will continue to live my purpose, and that includes you. Violettee. Violettee is a business owner, an author, a professor, a coach, and entrepreneur who challenges the traditions of business growth and leadership development within today's business environments. He has an executive MBA from Strayer University, Jack Welch Management Institute program, where he graduated with honors. After earning his executive MBA from the Jack Welch Management Institution, he attained an adjacent instructor position at Simmons College of Kentucky in Louisville, teaching foundations of law and business, foundations of management, and entrepreneurship and innovation. That position was unique as it gave him the opportunity to go from learning to teach, and also inspired him working with college students, emerging leaders, small business owners, and church leaders. It led him to become and self-employed professionals where they're going, allowing them to maximize their time and talent to drive their success and balance their lives. That was Shirrod. Shirrod. Now we'll get to Miss Violet V. Brown. Violet V. Brown. And still we rise. Violet V. Brown. And still we rise. Irene Presley Brown. Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. Bruce Lee. My mother, Irene Dolores Presley Brown, was born in 1932 during the Great Depression. She was also born Black in the state of South Carolina. Some would say the deck was stacked against her. But God is good. My grandparents were able to provide enough of the essentials to make a decent life for their 10 children during some lean years. She attended Zion Elementary and high schools to Rosenwald education institutions for students of color in Orangeburg County. She often thought that teaching would be a desirable profession. Many of her teachers were educated women of color and role models in the community. However, she also knew that she didn't have money for college after all. She had 9 other siblings in the family. During her senior year of high school, the Roper School of Nursing in Charleston opened its doors to students of color. And as Judge Constantine Baker Motley often said, something which we think is impossible now is possible in another decade. Recognizing the need for more medically trained professionals in her community, my mother applied and was accepted to Roper's practical nursing program. She graduated in 1953 and went to work for Orangeburg Regional Hospital, now the Regional Medical Center, RMC. Around the same time, I need to get better at the transition. Around the same time, she would marry her high school sweetheart, and they would begin rearing a family that would... Get off of my screen, sucker. Would grow to 4 children. 3 years into their marriage, she and my father would purchase 30 acres of land that included a small house and farmland. Man, that was a good deal right there. That was a good move right there. 30 acres. It's a good move. Her nursing credentials would pay off during these early years because it allowed my mother to earn a steady paycheck while my father worked to make the farm profitable. My family was challenging. However, doing so in the 1960s would prove even more difficult as my mother and father, along with the community, got involved in civil rights protests and local boycotts of racist business practices in South Carolina. I was too young to understand much of what was happening around me, but my mother's eyes told, oh man, boy, don't do that, boy. Boy, don't do that, boy. Don't be walking up on me like that, boy. That thing on bang, 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 bang. Are you okay? What's wrong? Say it again. The light is on in the eyes. The light is on in your eyes. You supposed to be in the bed asleep. You asleep. I was asleep. So what you doing now? No, I'll take that hug, my boy. I'll take it. I love you. Okay. All right, my boy. Are you okay? Yes, sir. You sure? Yes, sir. All right. Get back in bed. Go back to sleep. Good night. Hey, boy, you was walking around here like a ninja. Boy crept in on me in silence. You better say something. Oh, assassin. Oh, shit. Oh, man. I was too young to understand much of what was happening around me, but my mother's eyes told a different story. A story of being sick and tired of Jim Crow laws and a way of life that she did not want for her children. She would always say, we must put our trust in the good Lord. He will see us through this. Hold your heads up, baby. Sound like older church folk talk. Working as a nurse at RMC had its benefits, but it also had its challenges. My mother did not live an easy life, but through her faith in God Almighty and the foundation laid by her ancestors, she was able to endure challenging circumstances. She often encountered difficult coworkers and patients who wanted to work with someone other than herself. Needless to say, she figured out a way to manage them folks. Accolades over the years would come from patients and staff. And she was often presented with gifts from patients and appreciation for her caregiving role and the many things she said and or did to make their stay at RMC tolerable. My mother was a Christian woman and a praying woman. I would often find her on her knees after a long, difficult night at work. She instilled in me and my siblings the importance of prayer and the need to spend some quiet time with God. She didn't pray for an easy life, but the strength to endure what came her way. As life would have it, her faith was tested. A heart condition and other, what is this word? Maladies. Other maladies. I know that's not how you pronounce that word, but Maladies. I know my heart condition and other maladies. Other maladies. Maladies. It's not the word. Maladies. And other maladies that compromise her immune system. What is that word? I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. And I can't really look it up right now like I want to. But I know it has something to do with symptoms, medical symptoms, maladies. She was only given 6 months to live. She prayed to God. She prayed that God would spare her life to see her children reach adulthood, and he did. She never stopped trusting God. She loved singing and listening to gospel music. She became a Christian at an early age. Hold on, let me go back and look at this up right quick. Let me get my old dictionary. My ladies. Come, my lady. Melody. Let's see, my ladies. My lady. How you doing, my lady? Yeah, my lady. Maladies. That don't even sound right neither. A malady. Malady, physical, mental, or moral disorder. Malady. Don't sound right. Malady. No. It just don't sound right. I mean, I know it's a word. I don't. I'm trying to think where I've heard it and how I've heard it used. So it can be more familiar. If I could Google it on this damn thing, I would, but I can't Google it. Not this ragged ass shit. All right, let's get back to it. My lady, malady. She was singing and listening to gospel music. She became a Christian at an early age and served in many leadership positions within the Macedonia Baptist Church, including president of the gospel choir and midweek worship service leader. She was also secretary of the Orangeburg Orthodox Baptist Sunday School Convention and a board member of the Bull Swamp Live Working Ushers and Choirs Convention. My mother was also an innovator and contributor to the ongoing success of the Presley family reunions, which began in 1985. She dedicated this earthly life on November 19th, 2006. Excuse me, she departed this earthly life on November 19, 2006. Although she had gone for 15 years, her light is still shining today within me. My family members, and so many others whose lives she had touched in her brief stay on this earth. Leroy B. Brown, Senior MD. Maladies. Maladies. Leroy B. Brown, Senior MD. You have been assigned this mountain to show others it can be moved. Mel Robbins. My paternal uncle, Leroy Bradford Brown Sr., was born on June 5, 1929 in Detroit, Michigan. Shortly after, his father died of meningitis, forcing his mother, Fanny, to return to South Carolina with 2 young children. They moved in with their father, Charlie Hubbard, locally known as Boss Charlie to most people. Boss Charlie was blessed to own a 426-acre farm. It took significant labor to operate a farm of this size. At one time or another, Boss Charlie employed most of his children in his farming operations. Leroy was convinced that only an education would save him from a life spent plowing and viewing the backside of a mule. Intelligent and hardworking, he completed high school by the age of 15 with the hopes of going to college. However, after falling out with Boss Charlie over the wages that he was not being paid, he went to live and work with his uncle Eddie Hubbard, who trained him to be a master carpenter, a skill he would use for the rest of his life. At 17, he joined the United States Marine Corps, USMC, because a recruiter told him that the colors were allowed to fly fighter planes. Of course, this turned out to not be true. Oh boy, they got me with that too. I wasn't told that we was gonna fly fighter planes, but they showed me some shit. It was jumping and in the water and jumping out of the water, and it was live G.I. Joe shit. It was live. I was like, it was like, this could be you. This is gonna be you. You gonna do this. I'm like, I can do that. I can do that shit. That's live right there. I want that G.I. Joe shit in my life. I need that. What I got there? What happened to the tanks jumping? I drove some shit. But it was never nothing like in that video. Shit. They got me. Damn, hook, line, and sinker. We got us another nigga. They love that tank jumping video, man. They love seeing that shit. They get excited. They want to be the first one on the block to say they drove a tank or something. Oh, man, they got me. At 17, he joined the United States Marine Corps, the USMC, because the recruiter told him that colors were allowed to fly fighter planes. Of course, this turned out to not be true. While in the Corps, He hoped to be selected for an overseas assignment and see another part of the world. His commanding officer valued his typing skill. This not about shooting skills, everybody his typing skills. Hey, I mean, that's the job you want. I ain't gonna lie. That's the kind of job you want, man. Hey, when you out there, instead of being out on the, if you ain't no, if you just want to sit back and chill, hey, typing job is what you want. Typing job is what you want. With the Marine Corps, you're gonna be on the front lines. Pooh, they probably say that boy, typing. Go get that lady, excuse me. Go get Violet. Go get Brown. If you want to fly planes, you can fly the fingers on this typewriter. Fly, Brown, fly. Hurry up. Oh, man, I remember drills all of it. Hurry up. Hurry up. Type that shit, Brown. Type it. Oh, man. Hurry up. That's probably how they looking at me reading. Hurry up. Ah, shit. His commanding officer valued his typing skills more than his quest for bravado. He stayed at Camp Lejeune. See them commercials. Have you stayed at Camp Lejeune? Boy, if I might want to check, he might have that mustard gas, that orange gas shit. He stayed at Camp Lejeune and was honorably discharged as a corporal in 1952. Although he couldn't fly the planes he loved. He got juked, that's why. Although he couldn't fly the planes he loved, he did pursue the greatest love of his life. Well, it was in the Marines that he first glimpsed the photo of a young woman named Ola Augusta Watkins. He begged his good friend and her brother, Price Watkins, for her address and promptly began writing to her. He DM'd her. That was a DM back in the day. He proposed 3 times before she agreed to marry him. The 3rd time, she let it be known that she wanted to marry a doctor. Leroy, who would be hoping to become an aeronautical engineer, quickly let her know that it was his lifelong dream to become a doctor. When she finally said yes, he took no chances and whisked her across the state line to Arkansas, where they were married on the same day, January 3rd, 1952. Leroy went to college on the GI Bill and graduated from South Carolina State College and with all A's except for a C in French. Bonjour. Parlez-vous français? Oui, oui. He was accepted to the University of South Carolina. Would pay his tuition if he attended the local stakes. He would take the state's tuition off for only. Leroy earned his medical degree, specialty in internal medicine from Howard in 1958. Following his residency, that's the word, that's why. Following his residency at Fresno Community County Hospital, he and his family moved to Sacramento together. Leroy and Ola opened a private practice in internal medicine. Ola was a nurse, receptionist, typists, etc. Leroy would also work for the Department of Corrections, treating prison inmates later in his career. He also achieved his dream and lifelong ambition of learning to fly an airplane and his professional career. These new credentials helped him secure an assignment with the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, as a medical examiner. He was able to share his love of aviation and God with a number of pilots, some who became lifelong friends. My uncle especially enjoyed sharing his love for God with others. He and his wife were members of the Church of God Seventh-day Adventists. They were also children of the Great Depression. Each experienced a share of tough times. However, they were not afraid of hard work. They also beginnings. My uncle moved mountains in his lifetime. My uncle and his wife played a role in assisting me in shaping my adult life and professional career when I was a student at Howard University. They generously poured their knowledge and wisdom into me and treated me like I was one of their children. I often referred to them as my West Coast mom and dad. I was fortunate to have the opportunity to visit them often. Sad and tragically, our family would lose two incredibly gifted and generous people on June 2nd of 2016 when they succumbed to injuries from a vehicle accident that occurred on a week earlier. They are sorely missed. James B. Mavis. Conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. Max Lucido. Man, they say we only been on here 23 minutes, but I just don't believe that. I think I've been reading longer than that. If I've only been reading 23 minutes, then hey, that's good. That's good. Conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. Max Lucido. I've had the opportunity to work with some well-respected individuals during my time in corporate America and in my own business. During 3 short years with my first employer, Procter and Gamble, P&G, I gained skills as a process product engineer with sufficient engineering, design, and construction experience. The training and mentoring that was provided set the stage for my future work with other employers and my own business. And I'm also happy to share with you that I was a part of the P&G team. I was rolled away from P&G by my second employer, CH2M Hill, international consulting firm. In addition to my technical expertise, they value the hands-on and field experience that accompanied my knowledge of process product design, something that most engineers in this company did not have. About a year and a half into this assignment, I encountered 2 supervisors who I often referred to as the evil twins. Each decided that I wasn't a good fit in the organization because they said so. Not fitting in this one thing, but accusing a person of being incompetent is another. When that didn't work, my writing skills were attacked. I was cleared of these accusations, but knew more would come. If I didn't have enough problems, the situation was on a major project with a subcontractor that required intervention by seniors. James, Jim Mavis, the principal technologist for chemical processes, was called in to meet with the new team in my office. It was agreed that Roger would work with Jim to develop a new project strategy. Already feeling deflated by earlier struggles, I thought to myself, I'm toast. He will probably also think that I am incompetent and I will get fired. And reluctant, I started to piece together my part of the assignment. My work needed to be completed in a week later for the next face-to-face meeting. And after some research and data analysis, I began building a spreadsheet of my findings. 3 days later, I made a conscious decision to touch bases with Jim to ensure that I was on track in my and minimize any wrong turns. He suggested that I send him a copy. He will review it on the plane ride to our next meeting, and I did. The next day, Roger stopped by my office to inquire about my process on the assignment. I was working on the assignment at the time, plugging data into the spreadsheet, and after sharing some of the findings with him, he asked me if I would print him a copy so that he could get a better look at the numbers. Seeing no harm in the request, I did that. We are now at Friday and the second team meeting. After some status updates about the project and the contract, Jim turned to me, my coworker, and said, "Why don't you two update us on the work that you've done?" Before I could speak, Roger opens a folder and says, "Here, Jim, I wanted you to take a look at this spreadsheet I've been working on." I could see that this was my spreadsheet that he was passing to the principal technology officer. After someone calls you incompetent, you don't expect them to take credit for your work. There are a few times that I have been speechless, and this is one of those times. Jim took a look at the spreadsheet. He looked at me, and then he looked at Roger. He looked at me again and said, "Roger, Vi and I have already discussed the information in this spreadsheet, and this looks very much like the copy that I received this morning." In telling this story, I am sharing the beginning of my relationship with Jim Mavis, who is highly regarded within CH2M Hill and his peers within industry. What Jim did that day is not something that everyone would do. One of the key attributes of a mentor is that he or she has your back. My chance meeting and opportunity to work with him was the beginning of the professional relationship and wonderful friendship that has lasted to this day. Having a mentor at work or other places is important for career process, for career success. It is my belief that we would have more women and persons of color in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM fields, if they had mentors. I will go on to work with Jim on other assignments. Not only did he have my back within the workplace, but he also shared his knowledge of critical thinking and a unique approach to problem solving that has served me well to this day. He is an intellectual lodestar who successfully developed a secret sauce for mentoring and training. But by his actions, he also proved to me that conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. Giving up in the Southern Realm community during the 1960s was a period that not only shaped me, growing up in a Southern rural community during the 1960s was a period that not only shaped me, but this country. My humble beginnings in Orangeburg, South Carolina, laid a foundation for the fortitude that my future would require. Three key individuals who I consider to be early potters are highlighted in the preceding pages. Some of the folks who also poured into me their love, knowledge, and wisdom are spotlighted here. I'm very thankful to the family and friends who showed an interest in my education as I matriculated from elementary school. At Howard University, I would get new family friends that included Howard University has proven to be one of the best decisions and experiences of my life. My first two years, P and CH Hill, provided a solid foundation for technical and leadership skills. Thank you to Mark Jarvis and Bill Hagan for their assistance in my engineering training at P&G, and to Mike DeFilippo and Dr. Jill Shapiro for believing in me and my abilities at CH2M Hill. The fundamental skills learned in both organizations have been applied over and over again. Credit is also given to faculty and staff at Arizona University Executives MBA program for their assistance when I became unemployed in the middle of my studies. Thank you to Rose Presley Alston for respite care and new experiences, and to the members of the Matthew Business Network for new direction in business and life. Last but not least, I acknowledge my spiritual advisor, Dr. Warren H. Stewart, Sr., of First Institutional Baptist Church of Phoenix, Arizona. He is a master teacher whose preaching and prayers have fed my soul. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? Violettee Brown is CEO and founder of Vi Brown Speaks and Prophecy Consulting Group. She wears several baseball caps, including strategist, thought leader, inspirational and motivational speaker, business and STEM consultant, blogger, and book reviewer. As a professional speaker, Vi believes that one's understanding of STEM and other topics can be enhanced at any age. Why? Because doing so creates opportunities for everyone, uplifting communities, improving access for others, and sustaining our planet. She also offers solutions for him to do this, but is also the recipient. Brown is also the recipient of numerous awards and honors, including past president of the Society of Women's Engineers and great ambassador and tour leader, Women in Engineering Delegation Tour in China. Vi holds a BS and an MS in a bachelor's, I guess that's a bachelor's degree, and a master's in chemical engineering from Howard University and an MBA from Arizona State University. Connect with her at www.vibrownspeaks.com and vibrownspeaks@gmail.com. Visit my blog at A Bridge for Business and that was Miss Violet Brown, Miss Violet V. Brown. We have read two more tonight, Mr. Shirrod. Mr. Shirrod and Ms. Violet V. Brown, which gave the testimonies about who influenced them. And we definitely halfway through the book now. We're definitely about halfway. We about half. We about right at half, maybe a little over half right now. So next time we'll come back and we'll read next time about Mr. Rodney C. Burris. Rodney Burris and Dr. Sheila Bunton. We'll read about them and who influenced them. Dr. Sheila Bunton and Rodney C. Burris. We'll do that later on. Later on in the when the sun is out. When the sun will come out. And the flowers. I'll read another 2 people. Shit. Yeah, about yeah, when I get up. What time? I don't even know what time it is. I know it's like after 2. It's gotta be after 2, around 2 in the morning right now. But man, thank you for everybody who, stopped by, held it down. As I read, I think the reading went pretty well today. Went pretty well today. Oh yeah, it flowed pretty well. That assassin popped up in on me. Well, got me, man. If you would have got me. Ain't laughing. But he would have. Oh! Don't do that, Mark. No. On me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, but yeah, it's funny. You're gonna talk about it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow. But so far, the people are definitely attributing their success in their lives to these 3 people that they of their life. It should make you think. It definitely questions what can you learn and grow from. A lot of them definitely equate their influence or their blessings when they say who blessed you to the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. One that I read was a Muslim. I think her son was Muslim, so she became that as well. But other than that, so far so good. So far so good. It's moving right along. We're moving right along in the reading. I'm trying to hurry up and finish this one so we can. I don't want to say hurry. I'm not trying to hurry, but I want to be more consistent. The more consistent I am, the quicker the books will be read, and hopefully the better I'll be. But as soon as we get through with this one, we're gonna get to we're gonna read this next big book. Oh, I don't want to read. It's so big. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into the medical apartheid. Medical Apartheid by Harriet A. Washington. That'll be the next one. So I'm trying to get. Yeah. Definitely bigger. Definitely bigger. Definitely bigger. Oh, Lord. The words are smaller and a lot more. Oh, man. Oh, daunting task. But one book at a time. That's what we're going to do. One book at a time. Man, I ain't trying to bite off more than I can chew. But that's just going to be the next book. We finish. Who blessed you? Who blessed you? And then, depending on how fast we could get through the medical apartheid, I definitely have a couple other books that came in that are interesting to me. So the ice wall books are pretty the ice wall books are about this size. Good googly moogly. Okay, we got 4. And I've never read any of these. I don't know. You know. Under the Dome, the Outer Space Projection. Yeah, we'll read a couple of these. If there's anybody who finds some stuff like this interesting about the the ice wall and the other different places they got out there. Yeah, we might read about some of these domes, maps. We'll dive into some of these books and see what they're talking about up in these. But we're gonna get through what's on the list first. Who Blessed You? Medical Apartheid. And then we'll see what's what after that. And we'll keep pulling from my library. I got a bunch of books. I haven't even really gotten into like reading novels yet. I'm gonna just keep doing my part. I'm gonna just keep doing my part. I'm gonna keep doing one book at a time. One book at a time. One session at a time. One chapter at a time. One chapter at a time, one page at a time, one paragraph at a time, one line at a time, here a little, there a little, until we finish the book and find something that we can learn and grow from. Hopefully, that is the plan, to see if there's something that we can learn and grow from in each one of these, each one of these books that we may read. Hey, I apologize for any messages that is deleting on its own. I ain't deleting nothing. I appreciate everybody that stopped by, liked, commented, some love in the chat, all that stuff. Tell you people, we'll be back next time, man. We're reading with SHILO, man. And this was today's session of Reading with SHILO. Who Blessed You? Speaking of Israel, curated by George Fraser and Stan Hughes and Azaniah, Israel. So until the next reading time, it should be later on today. Man. Man, shalom, everybody. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I hope y'all have a wonderful night or day, evening, whenever y'all catch this on the back end. With me, it's night. Hope y'all have a wonderful one, man. Go and fix me a salad or something. But, man, it's SHILO. I'm SHILO. I'm out here. Shalom.